Welcome to Comically Comics, your one-stop listen to all things comics. We're talking books, movies, TV shows, video games, and more. I must forewarn you, though, we are a spoilercast, and what that means is we consider all properties, past, future, and present, to be valid, and we will spoil the hell out of them. I'm your host, Michael, along with my two co-hosts, Richard and Jeremy, and with all that being said, let's get started. All right, it is Sunday, June 9th, and we are back. We've got another reading for y'all. We're over on the DC side again. Since, we go from Aquaman, and why not we'll do some Superman and some Batman, except we're going to do their kids this time around, because by the time this airs, it'll be close to Father's Day, and, why not? Why not? So, this was recommended by Richard. Super Sons Volume 1. The entire arc is called When I Grow Up, and writer is Peter Tomasi with George...
Nope.
Jimenez?
Jorge Jimenez.
Okay. Thank you. I was wondering on the first part.
Yeah.
I got corrected the other night on a live, and I was actually appreciating that because I was like, hey, I'm reading that now. I got that. So,
yeah.
Cool. Alison Borges as well. Colorist Alejandro Sanchez, Hi-Fi, and then letterer Rob Lay. So, guys, what is y'all's whelming on this outing of the not dynamic duo, but the child versions of we got Robin and Superboy, John Kent, doing their own first adventure. What's y'all's whelmings on this?
I will say that I am pleasantly whelmed. I'm on the lower end of pleasantly whelmed. Just like I enjoy it. Like we were talking about before starting this, is I want to finish reading the series. It's just The banter gets a little annoying, a little too much sometimes. Like just a little bit, but for the most part, I enjoyed the series that we read so far, or as much of the series as we read.
Okay, Richard.
Yeah, I'm overly whelmed. I really like this series. When I recommended it, I'm kind of sad to hear you say that. I figured after the Twig reading, y'all would really like this, but I love this art. This art is, at least when it is, in fact, Jorge Jimenez, because issue 5, which we're not going to review for this, that's in the volume, but issue 5 just is a drastic change, and then issue 6 goes back to Jorge Jimenez for a second. But yeah, I like the art because it feels very animated, even though it's all still images. It feels very like it's in motion and moving. But yeah. I'm overly whelmed, and I love the banter. That's my favorite thing about this is the dialogue between John and Damian. This is the book that made me actually start liking Damian, because up until this point I fucking hated Damian. He was a little shit.
Oh wow.
But this is the one that I really enjoyed him.
Yeah. The one thing I will say is, like, I do very much like that they kept it's very much representation of the, like, Superman and Batman, as far as like, but with the teenage hormone type thing thrown in there to make them even more obnoxious, kind of as far as the Batman being like the dark and broody and moody type person and like, get out of my way, I'll just do it myself. And then the Superman wanting to, kind of be the more kind of like what you said, like the lawful good type thing.
See, I feel like they got close to that, but they replaced the dark and brooding with just like sarcastic teenager.
Like, that's what I'm talking about, like teenage hormone type thing there.
Yeah. Because like Damian didn't come off necessarily dark and brooding to me, but he comes off as such a know-it-all and smart ass.
And a little asshole.
Right. Yeah. Whereas Batman, like it's almost like it's the old version of that where he just keeps it to himself. Like he knows, and then eventually they say something. He's like, well, yeah, I told you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who would win in a fight between me or you? Me. Really? But I can fly and do all these things. Also me.
Yeah. He says, oh, okay, well, me. And I'm like, yeah, you would, Batman. You absolutely would. My whelming for this. I'm actually pleasantly to overly whelmed on this. I'm not gonna lie. Like, this is on the higher end for me. So the artwork is fantastic throughout the entire series for me. Richard mentioned something along with issue 5 that is in the trade for this When I Grow Up arc. However, it's almost like a solo story. It's a continuation from the actual story, but it's completely read by itself. All you have to know is that something happened, both the boys were grounded, and it goes from there. So it has nothing to do with the actual necessarily the arc prior to that, other than the grounding of it. Spoiler alert on that. You're finding out anyways, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But the art is fantastic, and I'm with Richard. I love the banter in this for the most part, because yes, like Damien gets John most of the time, but then John throws his jabs in there here and there and actually gets him back and actually gets him harder. I feel like he doesn't take as many, but when he does, he like hits pretty hard.
Yeah.
And
which is
there's certain
very Superman, if you will. Like, he doesn't necessarily hit, but when he does, it's pretty hard.
Right. Well, and that's even like mentally and with, words and stuff like that John does that, but then also physically a couple of times in this book, which is hilarious to me.
Same.
But I fucking love Damien. Damien is awesome. I love him so much more than John.
Yeah, I figured you
I
would.
think Damien's my spirit animal or something. I don't know.
I don't know if I would say that, but yeah. He's honest. Like I said, this is the reason why I started liking Damien, but it was because of this book, because he was very funny in a lot of this. But yeah.
But I relate a lot to Damien, honestly. I really do. I don't know what it is, but I do. I'm like, yes, you go, dude. You do it. Oh, all right. On to issue 1. When I Grew Up, part 1. We start with a family, specifically a middle child by the name of Reggie, who seems to be handed everything he could want by his family, that live in a set recording studio. It's really odd. Cut to the present. Damien and John are running from a robot version of themselves. 2 days earlier, we get a day in the life of John Kent, perceived to be normal elementary school child. And then there's Damien, not a normal elementary school kid. Later that night, Damien recruits John on an investigation at LexCorp. It's not long till they are met with the opposition. So, what do y'all got? Y'all like about this,
well, first off,
issue?
First off, my favorite moment, honestly, from these first 4 issues is the snowball fight and the reveal of who Damien has been impersonating. Because I immediately, when I first read this, not when I was rereading it for this episode, but when I first read this, I belly laughed so hard because I just thought it was so absurd, but so within like the Batman mythos, including like extending that into the Robins and stuff, of like he impersonated not just his bus driver, but his fucking substitute teacher. And then like
right
when he goes to have the snowball fight, he literally dumps like a giant snowball onto the kids.
Right.
Like, that is one of my favorite moments from these first 4 issues.
Well, and I love the line of like John is questioning Damien, and he's like, "You faked being my substitute teacher during 3rd period. You're 13 and had the nerve to make up all that stuff and teach your earth science and an entire class?" And Damien's response is, "Oh, I have more than nerve, John. I didn't make anything up. I could have had a doctorate in geology at 7 years old." Like this continuation of like all the shit he's accomplished by the age that he is in. Well, and then the after effect of that, John's like, "And why didn't you?" And Damien's response is, "Because my mother killed my professor and dumped him in the ocean." Just the look on their faces is perfect. Like perfectly drawn.
So I didn't actually realize that Damien was that smart. I didn't know
that
he was that smart. So at first I thought it was just kind of maybe playing along or picking at him or something like that. I don't know. But.
Yeah. Not only was he trained by the League of Assassins like Ra's al Ghul and Talia al Ghul, but he eventually will be trained by Batman. So yeah, like Batman's the best basically at everything. He's super smart. He's the world's greatest detective. So of course Damien's going to be like equally as smart because he's like trained. Like later on in one of the issues, he says something about like when he was 2, he wrote like an email to someone.
Yeah, yeah, like so the editor of the newspaper.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. And I was like, "What? You were 2?" He is a fucking menace in this story. Like, especially in Lex's laboratory, which I want to get to, but I think it's issue 2.
It is.
But
It is.
my note literally says, Damien is a fucking menace. And then something later else happens. And I was like, a fucking menace.
He really is.
That's why I fucking love him.
He's the instigator.
Yeah.
I said I got wrote on here. I love Damien. He cracks me up. He is written smartly. And then I wrote on here as well, talking about him impersonating people. I said, how many masks does Damien have? Because like he had that whole get up for the bus driver, and then he's like holding another one out. He's like, remember this guy? And that's where the whole substitute thing comes in. Just like, this is awesome.
I love that he's so short. He has to have like little extendo legs. like
Yes,
I don't
yeah,
know, like Inspector Gadget extendo legs to like make him
I was
tall.
gonna say because they don't even make him that much taller. Like they just make him tall enough to pass as like a short adult.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I love to like in the scene where Batman's about to take off, like leave, and he just like pole vaults over Alfred, and Alfred's just standing there. It's like you got this annoying like cat or puppy or something running around you. You just gotta ignore, so it just keeps moving on.
That's exactly what Richard was saying is this menace.
Yeah.
Like that's Alfred. Alfred is thinking about how much Damien is a menace.
Oh yeah. My note there is poor Alfred. Like all I can think of is just again, later on there's another issue where I love where he's like, well, at least Master Dick had the decency to make a pillow body double when he snuck out. Because Damien just leaves his bed just in disarray. Since we're right there on that page, what do you think of the Batsuit here? This is the new 52 Batsuit. I'm just curious to know what y'all think.
I liked it. I mean, I thought it. I obviously didn't know which one it necessarily was, but yeah, I liked it. So to me, it doesn't make like the bat look all like it's not a fat bat for one,
Yeah, right? Yeah,
and you can actually see like the what do you call them, like the ears or whatever. They're not too like they're not little nubbins, and you can like see them well. So
yeah.
I liked it. I thought it was pretty good.
Did the symbol strike terror in you? Is that what this was, Jeremy? Is that
So, no, it didn't strike terror.
okay? I'm on the meh.
Yeah.
Like it's a suit. Okay. I'm not real thrilled about it. Like there's better Batman suits.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So, but he also doesn't have, the giant. Was that Keith Giffen that gave him those giant ears? Who was it that gave him the giant ears? Like I hated those.
Oh, yeah,
I hate
yeah.
the giant ears.
Jeff Loeb.
No. Jeff Loeb, yes.
Because it was the Long Halloween that we read.
Yeah, I was about to say we read that one.
Yeah, but some of that happened in Nightfall as well. He had those long ears on some of those
Mhm.
covers or something like that. I hate long eared Batman. Absolutely, it makes no sense. That's just not.
He's got to have sonar. All the better to hear with.
Yeah, exactly.
No. He's got to be able to go nimble through doorways and stuff like that. Not worry about if his ears are gonna hit.
Well, see that. Well, that's just it. Like he can just ram straight through the door, where like they stick in the door and he just pops it off.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm whatever with the suit. It's okay. It's not the. Yeah. Meh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Meh.
love it either, but I didn't like much of the new 52 redesigns, except for the flashes. I thought the flashes was really cool, but I like the yellow outline just because it makes the symbol pop a little bit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it does.
I prefer the Keaton bat symbol. That's my favorite bat symbol, and I also prefer. The only one that did it, I think, was Ben Affleck with the big yellow, like chunky belt buckle that has all the pouches and stuff on it. I prefer,
yeah.
I prefer that as like a Batman utility belt, but I don't hate it. I'm kind of like Michael. I'm like, meh on this.
Yeah.
I also prefer my Batman not to have underoos as well. Like just like my Superman, no underoos.
No,
So that's nice.
I like Batman without them. Superman has to have them, in my opinion. But yeah, I agree. Batman looks weird, even though there's so many
Yeah.
iconic comic like images where he has the underoos.
Right.
I actually know what that is this time. So
Yeah, you're learning.
yeah.
He remembered this time. That's what's awesome. My favorite part of this issue was when Damian surprised John. And just the shit that he says to him.
Oh yeah.
Just like he's behind him in bed. He's like, hope you remember to floss, Johnny boy. And then, oh, 9 p.m. bedtime for kitties. And he's got his hands together like he's gonna lay down to sleep. That shit cracks me up so hard.
That's funny.
And then they banter back and forth about like, oh, I could have done this. He's like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. I'd have done this. Like it was, I don't know. I just love it. I freaking love it.
I think there's a reference to Battletoads, one of the old video games, like from our area, because John is wearing a like pajama outfit that has boxer frogs on it. So I think that's a reference to Battletoads.
Huh. I didn't even notice that. That's funny.
There's also a really cool, I love that Jorge did this, but there is a reference to The Dark Knight Returns when they're sneaking out at night.
Oh yeah.
You'll see them jumping across the rooftops, and there's a strike of lightning with a black silhouette of each two. It is 100% the Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns. It's like a reference to that.
Yeah.
Oh.
I thought that was adorable that they did that.
I enjoy the different parenting aspects of both.
Yes.
I'm all team Batman on the parenting. Like I would so do that to my children. Like just the way he talks and everything. Like that's totally me.
Yeah.
I wrote a note. I was like, I love seeing the juxtaposition between Damien's home and John's home. And honestly, Batman's is very cold and John's is more warm and inviting. I love seeing that, like, the Kent family's playing cards or whatever, and they're discussing about like what John did today at school. And then like, I was supposed to say Martha, but it's not Martha. Lois Lane wins the game and Clark is like, I don't know how she always wins. It's a very cute moment. I like it.
Yeah, I liked him, like Damien picking on John too about the not being able to fly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, what in that same panel too, he makes a comment. He goes, just climb on and piggyback. I'll leap across. and Damien's response, rest assured, you will never find me piggybacking on your narrow shoulders. Little does he know, and by issue 3, they will be running through the jungle, and he will absolutely be piggybacking.
No, he absolutely. Yeah, I also think that's a reference to Superman originally, way back in the day, didn't fly. The whole like able to leap a tall building in a single bound. Like he just jumped everywhere. So that's probably like a reference to that. But yeah, I love Damien constantly throughout these first 4 issues gives John shit about like, what kind of powers do you have exactly? Like
it's a regular streak.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I made notes about that.
I did as well.
Oh, that's fantastic.
The last note I have for this issue is, and I thought this did a pretty good job filling you in on certain things that show up in this issue. So you're not just like, who? But the one they don't explain is Lex. When Lex shows up at the end of this issue, he's wearing like his power suit, but it's Superman symbol, and they're calling him Superman and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Quick synopsis is Superman died of this universe, and Lex decides to like impress his like long lost sister. He's going to become the new Superman of Metropolis. So he makes him a new power suit with Superman symbol. He wears Superman's actual cape. There's a whole nonsense thing called Convergence that happens. Right. And then like Prime Earth or Earth Prime Superman comes back. That's the one that we see in this book. And it has Jonathan Kent. And I keep wanting to call her Martha. Lois. It has Lois.
Why'd you say that name?
I know that. I got to get that soundbite. Yeah, it has Lois and John Kent. They came from like Convergence. So they don't explain that, I guess, because it's a giant mouthful. But I kind of wish they would, or a little aside how they kind of do for something else later on in the story. But anyway.
Got you.
Yeah, because whenever I first saw that, whenever I was reading it, I was like, who is, like, is this like Mech Superman or something? Like, I don't know. I didn't know what it was.
I rather enjoy Lex in this series.
Yeah.
Like he's like, I really do enjoy him in this. So it's pretty funny.
I never read it, but I heard it was quite good. It was basically DC's version of like Superior Spider-Man. It was like Superior Superman, if you will. It was like basically Lex was like, I'm going to be Superman, but I'm going to be better than him to prove that I'm a better superhero than Superman. And it was, it's kind of that story.
Got you. Is that part of the, I keep wanting to say Divergent, but it's not, it's Convergence. Is that like the part of the two, because each of them had like two stories or whatever, and then they kind of branched off and did things after that. Is that what that's part of? Or
I got to be honest with you. I think the run, I don't know for sure, but I want to say the run happened and then midway Convergence happened.
Okay.
And it kind of fucked up the story because eventually Superman comes back from Convergence and Lex eventually goes back to his normal old ways, which anyway, spoilers for that.
Yeah.
But I don't remember, to be honest with you, because I hated Convergence. I thought it was really dumb.
There's not many people that did like it.
Yeah.
Y'all got anything else for issue 1?
No, that's it for me.
I'm good.
Awesome. Issue 2, part 2 of When I Grow Up, Lex and Friends. At the set studio, Reggie is playing a sick game of hide and go seek. Back at LexCorp, Damian has fun with John and Lex to complete his mission, which was to see who broke into LexCorp. It was Reggie, of course. We learned that Reggie's family were victims of the Amazo virus, which seems to have given Reggie the ability to multiply himself. John and Damian find Reggie's family, quote-unquote, dead inside the studio. John jumps away only to run into Reggie's sister, Sarah. Both boys look to have a familiar face standing over them, watching. Yeah, that's all I got.
Well, my first note is just the very first part where Damian is talking with Lex. And again, like, what a little asshole. Like, where's the line he says about, here it is. All that power and you still can't cure rampant alopecia, Super Lex? And then he just fucking throws John off, knowing full well that John will survive. I thought this was clever, but also in keeping with Damian just being an asshole, where he throws John off, knowing full well he can't fly, but also the fact that he will survive that fall because he's Superboy. Like, he will probably crater the street, but Lex doesn't know that, even though he's wearing a superhero, a Superman, like, hoodie. Anyway, I was just like, God damn. And then, when I'll just talk about it since I mentioned it previously, but when he's setting the bombs in Lex's laboratory and Lex shows back up and he's like, what the fuck do you think you're doing? He's like, you've got 3 seconds to get out of here. And Damian's like, oh yeah, well, you got 5 to find the other 11 bombs that I've planted. You just see it go ping, like there's onomatopoeias all around the room going ping, 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 ping. And that's the note where I was like, what a fucking menace.
And they weren't even bombs.
No.
Yeah. And they weren't, in fact, actual bombs.
That's why I love him. I don't know. It cracks me up so hard. Oh, man.
Yeah, all I can think of is poor Alfred having to deal with that little bastard on a daily basis.
My first note is the dialogue between John and Damian is fantastic.
Yeah.
There is a mess up, though, in this book, and I'm leaping forward a good bit just because it's my second note. They get to the warehouse, the set / warehouse, because that's all they do. They call it a warehouse throughout there. I don't know why they didn't call it a set, because it looks like a
TV
set.
Yeah.
It looks like a TV set. It's weird. But Robin's investigating the scene after Superboy is left, and he looks at the paper, and he says 5. He's counting the members of the family. And so then he goes to the chairs. He says 5 chairs, 4 bodies. There should only be 3 bodies there.
Bro, wait.
Sarah left. Reggie's gone.
Yeah.
So there should only be 3 bodies there.
Unless he made a duplicate of himself.
I thought she made a duplicate of. I don't know. I'm just gonna go. Yeah.
Well, she was hiding. She never got with it.
Yeah, because it would be the mom, dad, the other brother, and then sister.
And then Sarah got away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
I'm just saying, I noticed it. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
look at
No.
me finding stuff like a true editor. That's cool.
Yeah.
Good job.
Look at you doing stuff.
Doing a better job. Who's the editor here? Oh gosh, I don't even know how to say their names. I'm not even gonna try it. But yeah, you did a better job than them.
I'm just saying, my investigation worked. There was a talking about that. There was a comment in here after Damien gets all the information that he needs, and John says something along the lines of, "You're such a super detective that Lex caught you planting the stuff instantly. You think you're so cool, but you're not even halfway decent Batman." And Damien's reply while yawning is, "You're right. I'm better." And he shows him the screen. And I'm like, no, Batman wouldn't have gotten caught. Now, I'll give it
Yeah.
there's a lot of things I'll agree with, but Batman wouldn't have gotten caught.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. I like when they're riding on his little like dirt bike, and I just wrote, "Damn, Bruce," but it was like talking. He says, "My father said everyone lost their powers when it was cured." And then Damien replies, "My father says your dad is not a detailed oriented person."
and they're scouting out the warehouse.
Yeah.
and Damien's sitting there rattling off what the material is, and Superboy's like, "Hey, genius,
Yeah.
details," and points to an open door.
That's why I love this. I think the banter is so fun between these two because they kind of just take the piss out of each other.
Another one of my notes is Damien challenging Lex is the best. It's like the two egos head to head because they're so similar.
Mm-hmm.
The way that they speak and everything, it's just like both of them are overabundance with intelligence, and it's funny to me.
Yep, I agree.
And I love when John like nonchalantly pushes Damien at the warehouse into like either through a wall or a table or I don't know what it is, and pushes him through. But I'm just like, wow. Like I love the way that it's drawn because it shows so much like how strength John has, but he doesn't use.
Yeah.
Because like his body posture is completely vertical. There is no lunging left or right. It's just his arm out to the side. So you know, like he didn't even do much to do that. And then Damien flies across the room.
Yeah.
So like I love the way that was drawn. It was perfect.
Yeah.
It's like the Hulk punching Thor. Just right there whenever they're fighting. Just,
Yeah, exactly.
Smooth.
Yeah, all I wrote was just yeet.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have much. The last note I have is just at the very end with 2 people behind each one of them in different locations. I said, "Y'all be in trouble."
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I really whenever they showed that, I was like, did the dads find them or something? Like, what the heck just happened here? And yeah, that was pretty cool. But I also liked that it was the opposites on each one.
Yeah, me too.
Batman behind Superboy and all that. So
Yeah, I really thought it was the dads.
yeah.
Like I never put together that it was, robotics.
Yeah, I did too as well. When I was first reading it, I was like, "Oh gosh," because I was like, "Is Clark about to fucking fry Damien?"
Well, and I didn't put together that the parents were were robots either.
Yeah.
Like
didn't either.
I was
Oh,
on the
yeah,
verge of like letting my son read this because I thought it was great. I thought he would, maybe relate or enjoy reading the banter and all this other jazz. And then they showed that, and I was like, okay, I guess this is out now too. Damn, I can't win here at all.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. That was pretty cool just seeing those pages there. But yeah, I was definitely like, what's about to happen. So
Yeah. A lot of comics will do the little like last page, like, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
And then to keep you kind of where you want to buy the next issue to read to see what happens.
Right.
Yeah.
I kind of hate
Right.
it. I didn't mind it here.
No. I think it fit really well with the way the story's going. I mean, they ran away from home. Like it meshed in well,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think, with how the story was going. So
Yeah. Because it didn't necessarily like you didn't really know at that point. So like as far as what those were, that they would be robots. And so it's just you just kind of figured it was them getting caught by their parents, basically.
right.
Wasn't like a
Right.
major cliffhanger type thing. But I was just ready to see Damien get his butt spanked.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. In what world like Damian beats Superman? I could Batman. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like hands down, Batman. Batman's got a fucking kryptonite ring in his utility belt, like 24/7. But Damien, no, no, I don't see that happening at all.
Yeah.
That's funny. Y'all got anything else for issue 3?
No, or 2, you mean?
Yeah, I apologize.
No,
2.
yeah, you're fine. Yeah, no, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm good.
Cool. Issue 3, part 3 of When I Grow Up, Sibling Rivalry. Several months earlier, we see the Super Duffies fighting robotic gorilla. Jump to now, it seems John and Damian are battling a robotic Batman and Superman. Sarah saves the day, though, as she can control machines. The machines John and Damian were fighting are actually versions of Reggie. His power combined with the Amazo armor gave him this ability. Now the fight is on. So, it was on this issue here where it kind of clicked, I guess, with me. And I love how each issue shows them working together without them knowing. Like that was something that I really appreciated, like seeing gradually more. Like as we got more into the story, you see more of them. Like as much as they bicker like an old couple, like they like grumpy old men. Like
Yeah.
they actually start like they're actually working together, but don't even know it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it gives me the idea of like when they do become like adults superheroes, they would be like a really unstoppable team of
Mhm.
like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Having started this young, like as adults, they should be really powerhouses.
Yeah, and I love on this one because I completely fell for it too on this in this act where they just started bickering with each other and started like fighting, and then they just do now and like
Yeah.
that was pretty cool. Like I was like like I said, I fell for it. I was like, what are we doing right here in the middle of this? Like,
I love John. When we talk about their dialogue, John, I wrote down on this note, your dad's a psychopath. Even my mom says so. I thought that shit was funny.
Well, in this one, ignore the little guy. The continuous "I'm taller" over the "I'm older" is hilarious.
Yeah,
Like
it
that's
is.
several times over through here of like, well, I'm older or I'm taller, and it's like, okay, well, I'm older, so what?
It's a very like kids bickering kind of thing.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yes. And then like the constant reminding John of like the names, and he's like, names, dummy.
Yeah.
Because John keeps wanting to say Damien, and he has to stop him.
I don't want to skip over at the very beginning you mentioning. So very goofy things happen during the quote unquote silver age of comics. And one of the most goofiest things we see at the beginning where the Super Duffies are fighting not just any robotic gorilla. It's in fact Titano, the super ape, which was a gorilla that could shoot kryptonite radiation out of his eyes.
What?
And he was a Superman villain way back in the day.
I didn't know
wow.
that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, I think there's a note for it at the bottom somewhere. I thought there was.
Well, it shows in the like first page. It says, "Sorry, Titano."
Yeah, that's it.
Nothing beats my family.
Yeah, that's who it is.
Oh, okay. No, yeah, I didn't catch that at all. That's funny.
Yeah, I thought that was real. I was like, oh my God, they put Titano in this book. Damien says to John at one point, he's like, I was thrown from the warehouse by him, a bucket of bolts dressed as the world's worst superhero. Talking about Superman. I'm like, damn, Damien. He does not mince words when it comes to Superman.
No, he definitely doesn't.
This cowardice is exactly why my father doesn't trust yours.
Yeah. It's great.
Is that before or after she changes your diapers? This stuff just cracks me up. No, I can't.
I love, there's another, we talked about it earlier, but I love your parents are reporters. Don't you ever read newspapers? John replies, I'm 10. He goes, I wrote my first email to the editor when I was 2. Like, I just wrote, Damien's such a tryhard, I swear. Also, this is that same where I think they do a great job filling you in on who Amazo is. Like Robin is talking off panel, and he says he was an android programmed with artificial versions of the Justice League's various superpowers. And then John replies, so basically he's a one-man Justice League. And he's like, if that helps you, yes.
Yeah, which this issue was like finding out all the details, so it's really just kind of all starting to come together.
Yeah,
and I liked like seeing whenever the robots changed into Damien and John and everything. I thought that was like, ooh, that's interesting.
My note for that was Amazo makes no sense. Like he's a mixture of like actual physical parts and like the T-1000 liquid metal.
Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I took it as.
It was very strange to me.
But then I didn't understand why he would like drop himself down from Batman and Superman to become John and Damien.
Yeah, I don't either.
Like I would think Batman and Superman would be way more powerful.
Yeah, same.
Than John and like.
And I like in this one, I thought it was interesting realizing that she was apparently Reggie's control only like has, I guess, like that's like a blast radius almost or something.
Yeah,
there.
Probably.
But I mean, it doesn't quite make sense. Well, no, those are just. But she's a robot because I was gonna say like the Batman and Superman were way the heck out there with her. So why were they still under his control whenever she wasn't? Is it just because that she could control the things?
No, it was. I remember now. They were saying it was because she was able to control technology.
Right.
She took over. So it wasn't that it was getting out of his range. It was getting out of her range, I think is what it is. So as the clone of her that she now took over, as it gets further away, she starts losing control. So it starts going back to being controlled by Kid Amazo.
Yeah.
But see, like the line in here says, like she goes, "We're too close. I feel him retaking control."
Maybe he can overpower it more when he's closer to the robot or something.
Yeah,
she's weaker.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that would make sense though. Yeah, if she was able to send the robot a little bit out or something and away from him. So
well, that robot is more him than her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like she's just taking over it because of her powers, whereas like that's part of his ability to multiply in the suit itself.
Yeah.
So not only does she have to, take over the suit part of it, but she has to block out him too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another one of my favorite lines is they've gotten back to the bike and I guess they're getting ready to get on it or something like that. And he says, John's like, "Do you listen to yourself?" And Damien's, "Touch my cycle and you will never be considered by the Titans." And then he shoots him with the grappling gun and it goes around and ties him up. John goes, "Whatever, Dork Knight. I'm calling my dad." I just like to play on Dork Knight. I thought that was great.
I love when they're running back to that bike and John's like, "I can see the bike ahead with my supervision." And Damien goes, "Idiot, you can see it with regular vision."
And then the whole like kind of coming back on the play with names of like whenever they were, he grapples him, and John's like, "You're pushing it, Damien," and he goes, Damien goes, "Names, jerk."
Yeah. I like when the bike gets blown up, and then Damien's like, "Well, I'll have to admit, maybe we should have called our parents." And then, of course, this is the issue where he ends up riding on John's back.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And yeah, the only other note I had is just that, like, I'm older. And he's like, well, I'm taller.
Yeah. I think that's all my notes too. What about you, Jeremy? You got any other notes?
No, I think that's about all I had on this one too.
Cool. Final issue 4. Sunday, Bloody Sunday. SON, not SUN.
Yeah.
Just so we're clear. So, but yeah. The conclusion, John and Damien first arc. Kid Amazo has John and Damien tied up until a well-known villain comes and saves the day. Let's be honest. I mean, it's Lex. Like, he's going to always be a villain. You can't just keep him as a hero. So, like, come on. And again, I love the banter between Damien and Lex. There was one, I'll have to look it up or whatever, but there was one line where Damien's giving out orders and Lex was like, "Really? You?" And it was pretty funny.
I love right off the bat, we see Lois waking up, and then Alfred is trying to wake Damien up, and that's the line where he's like, well, at least Master Dick had the decency to make a pillow decoy. That shit's so funny to me.
Yeah,
I can only imagine.
I love Alfred.
Yeah, I want like a book that's silly like this, where it's just like Alfred having to deal with Damien.
A day in the life of Alfred.
Yeah.
That's funny.
One of my biggest things on this is that it's got to be the goofiest, dumbest little suit. Like, he looks, Kid Amazo?
Mm-hmm.
He looks so stupid in that thing. Like,
yeah. Yeah, you're not gonna hear any pushbacks from me. It's dumb looking, but Amazo is one of those stupid like androids. Sometimes he looks like almost like Namor. He's got like pointy ears and stuff like that. So anyway,
yeah, he just kind of looked like the divers from the Abyss mixed with Black Manta. Like, that's just kind of the vibes that I was getting. All the notes I have are just lines that I love from this issue.
Same.
Like, that's really all that I've got here. So
yeah. Same. I love when they're chained up and he's like, I'll have to ask, do you have any superpowers? And John's like, shut up. I mean, other than being easily captured. And he's like, if you had just called for help, like I said, but no, you always have to know better. And Damien replies, seriously, I'm not even convinced you have regular strength, let alone super.
Yes.
Yeah, where he says, "Great news, Superboy. Kid Amazo was able to use your powers better than you."
Yeah.
Right before that, though, Amazo was talking about how he's taking their powers and stuff, and he says something about how like they're both special, and he goes, "Well, only one of you. The other one's just flesh and blood and can flip a lot."
I had that note. I was about to mention that. Yeah, I love that. I like the where Damien then says a rebuttal of like, I do have a superpower. I can see the future in 3, 2, 1. And then of course Lex comes plowing through the roof, crashing into one of those like Robin robots or whatever. Anyway, I just thought that was really cool. I was like, that's pretty clever, Damien.
Yeah.
Because it was honestly like one of those moments because in the last issue, whenever he was messing with the robot head, and you figured something was going to happen, but nothing did necessarily. And so like, well, I guess maybe that one failed, but come back into this issue, and then it comes full circle, and that's where Luthor came from. That he put in some kind of like, I guess, sending out a beacon to Luthor saying, "Hey, here's all your stuff."
How dare you doubt Damien?
The coolest moment for Damien comes up, I love, when Kid Amazo goes to fight him and he like breaks Kid Amazo's arm,
Yeah.
and he says like, "I'm Batman's better half."
Yes.
I was like, my note there was that was a cool moment for Damian.
Yeah.
Because it's very nonchalant.
Yeah,
Like very handled his own business kind of. And the first time we really got to see that as well, where it was like combat with something like a foe, really. So like I know we had like last issue where he was doing battling against Superman, but robotic Superman or whatever. But still, it wasn't like, the big bad or whatever. And
Yeah.
and him looking so nonchalant about it.
yeah.
Earlier on, when they're like tied up in chains upside down, there's a moment where he's like, "Stop! When you pull on these bindings, they cut into me, genius." And John's response is, "Yeah, well, maybe you could try flipping a lot to get us out."
Yeah.
I love them like whenever they go to like save the family and they're carrying them out, and Damien's got just the little girl, and John's got like all the whole rest of the family on him.
I love John saying like, "Hey, we got to save the family," and Damon's like, "Oh yeah, civilians, right? How very dad of you."
When they get away and Superboy uses his super breath to like blast one of those robots away, and he's like, "Oh, my super breath works," or something like that. And Damien's response, "Super breath and super noticing the obvious? Well, will wonders never cease?"
Yeah, that was my exact note next as well.
This thing is like chock full of just shit like that. And I'm so here for it. I so love it.
Yeah, and I like that it actually came back where he got to use his super breath. Yeah, hey, I guess that does work sometimes because he was going to use it like on the last issue, and like Robin got thrown into him
Yeah.
Yeah.
right
yeah.
when he was about to.
He was catching Robin.
Yeah, catch you.
Lex, man, he loses it when Kid Amazo's like talking shit to him. And then he's like, "You can't break me. I'm more than Lex Luthor. I'm super." And then John, of course, cracks Kid Amazo across the face. And then he says the line, "Nah, you had it right the first time." Or, "Nah, he had it right the first time," talking about Kid Amazo's line.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like when they do the boys do an Irish goodbye. Lex is standing there and he's talking to Sarah and he's encouraging her about her powers and stuff like that. And he goes with, "And puts you in a position to become a real heroic youth, unlike these young boys who," damn it, because they're gone.
I like when he's talking to him right before that. And he's like, "As far as I'm concerned, you're all delinquents. So if you want to throw yourselves at my mercy, you have 3 minutes."
Oh, I gotta find that one with him talking to Lex.
I love when Sarah is using her powers to rip the suit off of Reggie to like depower him, if you will. And Reggie's like, "What's this pain?" And Damien goes, "That pain you feel ripping your flesh apart, Reggie, that's family." And I just was like, what a nice family message.
Well, the way he's drawn in that panel too is like fantastic. Just like the expression on his face, how his arms are positioned. Yeah. Out to the side. He's like, "Look at her." So that moment where Damien's talking to Luthor, it's like right before the whole Batman's better half moment.
Mm-hmm.
And Damien goes, Superman, Kid Amazo is your target. Handle him. And Mazo's like, "You can't keep dodging me forever." And Luthor goes, "Who the hell do you think you are, commanding Superman, boy?" And that's where he does "I'm Robin, old man." And he cracks Amazo's arm. And he says, "Batman's better half."
Yeah.
Like that whole page is just fantastic.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I love like that Luthor's trying to get the boys to, he's going to turn him in or whatever, but takes his eye off him for like a second and they just bust through the wall running. And of course, Robin's riding Superboy's back again. He's getting another piggyback ride. And the other thing was there whenever they were trying to sneak in, and like you have the one panel where it shows John about to like jump up to his room and Damien standing there on the ground, but then the next panel, John's grabbing onto the ledge and Damien's just sitting in the tree limb, already up there.
He's that good.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. It's because he's older.
Yeah.
I love my last note is I love this last page with pissed off Lois in her like PJs and Alfred with his arms crossed. I just find it so fucking adorable. Like them being like, y'all are so fucking grounded right now.
Well, I like that Alfred was like, he knew where to go.
Yeah.
So he immediately drove out to the Kents.
Yep. And I just wrote like Alfred is the true parent here. And
oh, absolutely. Yes. Cool. Y'all got anything else?
I think that's about all I had.
Yeah, that's it for me.
Awesome. So are y'all gonna continue reading on? Y'all mentioned something about this, I believe, earlier, either off the podcast or earlier. I can't remember. But will y'all continue reading on?
Yeah, I think I'd like to. Any idea how many issues are actually in this?
I want to say
Whole series?
16.
Okay.
That was a good question.
I will find that out in 2 seconds. Give me one moment.
Well, yeah. Either way, I think I'd like to continue reading it just to see it play out. It's a fun series, and I'd like to see how it ends and how it grows. So
I got it to work. It is in fact 16.
oh, good.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, no, it's not. All this was quick reads, I think.
Yeah.
And again, I like the art. I want to say the art does change. I don't think Jorge Jimenez was able to do the entire run, but still, I hear it's quite good. I read these first 4 issues and I fell in love with it. I never finished reading it for some reason. But yeah, I definitely, after rereading this, I was like, God damn it, I'm reading all of this. I want to finish this. I love this so much.
That's funny.
One of my questions was going to be, I was going to ask, were you guys going to let your kids read this? But I kind of got the answer from Michael now.
Yeah. If it hadn't been for and I know it was just robots, but it's like that scene, the way that it's done to make it look like they've been, you know, slaughtered almost.
Yeah, murdered.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even like at the start, it was just the way the kid was acting to the parents. I was like, oh,
yeah.
I don't like this.
Yeah. They definitely made him like a menacing villain that's like, I don't know. My son was 14, 15 years old. I probably let him read it then. But outside of that, I don't know. And I think it also depends on like the maturity of, the kids and stuff like that. But like I kind of look at comics the same way that I do like movies. Like if I wouldn't let them see something like that in a movie, I'm probably not going to let them see something like that in a comic. So
what you're saying is I'd probably let my kids read this one.
You said that, not me, sir. Okay, you just took shots fired on yourself. Okay.
Per its rating, it is rated for 12 up. So
okay.
Yeah,
E for teen.
That would make sense.
Yeah. Okay. Look at me doing parenting stuff. I may be a little better than Bruce. Look at that.
Exactly. You're probably way better than Bruce. I love real quick. I love in the Harley Quinn show. I think it's like Bruce is talking with Damian and he's like, "Do you want me to make some hot cocoa?" And he's like, "Would you make me hot cocoa?" And he's like, "Well, I'd make Alfred make you hot cocoa."
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, just some of the stuff that was said to go back to that or whatever from issue 1, because it was just, I don't know. I don't know if it hit home with me or what it was, but I've said something like this of you're being unreasonable, father, and did you give me your word about your studies, says Bruce. And Damian says yes. And then Bruce drives off. He says, then keep it. I'm guaranteed, I promise you, I have said something to that effect to my child at one point and to my son. Like I've said something to him about like, did you not say you would do this? Okay, then do it.
Yeah.
Like don't mess with me about it. Just go do it.
Yeah.
Or the whole because I said so. Like just go. Go do it.
Oh, see, I hate because I said so. I hate that. I can't. I'm not big on that, but like I know exactly what you're talking about. Sometimes you got to use it.
Yeah.
It's one of those where sometimes you got to, But like I've exhausted everything at that point in time, and it's just like, you know what? I'm your dad. I told you to do it. Go.
Yeah.
What is it? Another one. I've never said this word for word, but I'm pretty sure I've come across something like this. You still don't know enough to do what's required when I require it. Like that one. I know I've said a very watered down version of that before. Like that's, you still don't know enough. So
Yeah. Oh yeah. No.
So yeah, I'm sorry. I relate to Bruce a lot. I don't know. I have died this whole. Yeah, we've started family game night, so maybe I'll eventually become a Kent, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
What do you relate more to, Jeremy?
Uh,
You're so a fucking Kent, aren't you? You look at you. You even got the Kent haircut, you bastard.
yeah, probably.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, yeah, I'd say I don't know. Yeah, I'd be more of the long lines of Kent. I mean, my wife is definitely like, and because she tends to win a lot of those board games, and I'm just like, so that seems to be our cycle there. So, although I did actually win a game of Settlers of Catan the other night, I was very proud of that. So
Nice. Solid.
Yeah.
I won Ghostbuster Clue today. Look at us doing stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Y'all got anything else?
No.
No, I'm good.
Cool. Next week, y'all come back. We're going to be talking about Old Man Logan, that comic series going from issue 66 to 72, including the giant size as well. So that ought to be fun, gearing up and getting ready for what Richard believes and what I'm seeing what he's talking about as well, that we may be getting an MCU version of Old Man Logan within Deadpool and Wolverine. So nonetheless, it's still an awesome story that everybody should probably read at one point in time in their life.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just going to make a note about the whole Deadpool thing. It's like we were watching the basketball game, and there was a commercial on there for Deadpool. And my oldest, he was away, and my youngest was in there. And of course, like I let it play, and of course, on the TV, it's funny. Like it sounds funny because they edit everything, like half of that,
Oh, yeah.
like at least half of that stuff out.
Right.
So, and so my son looks at me, he's like, "Daddy, am I old enough?" I know. He's like, "Well, how old do I have to be?" And I was like, "You gotta be like 17 to be able to go see that."
Yeah, I get asked by my son all the time about Deadpool. All the time. So I'm just like, buddy, not yet.
No.
You're not there yet. Sorry, you can't even read Super Sons yet. In the meantime, Jeremy, where can they find you at?
They can find me on Twitch under the handle Night Fury GTO. That's Night with a K. And you can find me here. And I have not played any since last time.
Shame. I love the look. I could see it dawning over him what was coming.
It just starts getting darker and darker.
Just FYI, I've played this game and beaten it. My wife has now started playing it. Matter of fact, I think she's playing it right now as we're doing this podcast. So it's a race to see who can finish first.
Yeah.
You've got a head start, Jeremy.
I do, but not a very big one. But yeah.
Did you jump to 25 pretty quick there? I'm just saying.
I did.
You did.
I need to. Hopefully, we'll keep we got another storm rolling in tomorrow, but hopefully, we'll be able to keep power through that one.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. That, by the way, it's nice to have you back on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot.
I didn't even. Sorry. Yeah.
No, it's good. Yeah. It was good. We were out of power for 36, 48 hours. something like
That fucking
So,
sucks.
Yeah.
That's some sweaty balls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Richard, where can they find you at?
If you want to contact me directly, I have an X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram, and a Threads. My handle is Night Curry, night like day and night, and curry with a K. If you want to contact us directly, we have a Gmail. Our Gmail is comicallycomicspodcast@gmail.com. And if you want to check us out on YouTube, possibly TikTok, we'll see, and Instagram, you can check us out under the name Comically Comics Podcast. And if you want to check us out on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, you can check us out under the name Comically Comics with an X.
You can find me on Instagram, eBay, and Shortbox at 22_comics. You can also find me on YouTube at 22 comics. Thank y'all so much for listening. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did making it. Well, all that being said, say goodbye, Jeremy.
Bye, Jeremy.
Bye, Jeremy. Bye.
Damien, I made your favorite.
You didn't make that. Alfred made that.
I made him make it.